What is going on, my friends? My name is Ellsworth, also known as Chester Copperpot. This is Box of Tricks. Let's talk about some music. I have a fun one today. I'll check this out, by the way. You know, like this whole me in front of the record shelf thing, this diegetic storytelling, as if I didn't plan exactly where this would be. Anyway, today we're going to talk about Mampi Swift, and the tune is called Mission. I wonder about Mampi Swift when it comes to people in this country that aren't DJs, because I have known who this guy is almost since the beginning of my DJing. And to watch what his style has covered has been really impressive. And this is one of the angles that I don't see much from him anymore. But, well, whatever. I'll get into it at some point. This track is awesome. And it kind of brings me to a point that I want to talk about. There's a term that goes around amongst the generation that's after me that says that something lives rent-free in your head. Now, I don't like a lot of the slang that I hear from the cats that are younger than me. I think it's fucking stupid. That's what it's supposed to be, though. I'm old, y'all are young. Your shit is dumb, my shit's cooler. That's how it goes. Anyway, you know what lives rent-free in my head? This thing here? This noise. I don't know why. It's stuck in my head for so long. I will give you a little anecdote after I play the tune about what it reminds me of. But it's super fucking cool. And it's such a juxtaposition between what that sounds like and what this overall mood of this song sounds like. This tune is by itself, I think, it's a lurker. But there's certain parts of this tune that have a bright side, like a joy to them, a playfulness to them. And that noise, I think, is kind of the epitome of that. That's the benchmark set against its malevolence. So you have this lurker that occasionally here and there has these elements that feel joyous and playful and just not serious. I guess a very serious backdrop of lurkeriness, if that makes any sense. Anyway, let it ride. We'll talk about it after a little bit. I don't want to get involved in this song at all while it's playing, so I'm not going to talk during it. Maybe one point I'll point out, because there's a little thing that happens with the snare. You'll see. The snares do a cool thing. Anyway, I hope you like this. Let's talk more about it afterwards. This is Mampi Swift Mission on Charge Recordings. Fuck yeah. All right, I think we'll cut in here, and it's going to finish out the same way that it began, more or less. It's going to get a little bit less intricate. Some of the samples will start falling away, and you'll be left with more of a bare bones. It's textbook track structure, and I appreciate stuff like that. DJ-friendly tunes are always welcome, by DJs at least. So I like I said before, I got a lot of love for how this tune feels. It has this. Like I said, it was a lurker, but it never gets aggressive. Lenore from Elements actually had a great comment about how dark tracks and aggressive tracks aren't always the same thing. There's a difference between darkness and aggressive, and that was well put. I wish I had the actual full statement in front of me that I could read to you guys, but it was somewhere, some Facebook post I saw buried years ago. But this is kind of the poster child for that statement. You don't need to be a threatening tune in order to have that malevolence that I was talking about before, which this certainly has, and then some. So, got a really cool feel to it. I'll talk more about it in a moment, and also how much I love Mampi Swift. But let's talk about the details of the song first. So, once again, this is Mission from Mampi Swift. This came out in '97 on Charge Recordings, and then also got a re-release on Charge again back in 2009. And it deserved it. The B-side to this is High Tech, which is a track that I know mostly, and I think a lot of folks would know mostly from DJ Dara's Full Circle. I've talked about in the past how much I admire that mix, and one of the better mixes in that mix is him mixing into High Tech and kind of doing some fader work, and it's textbook. It is the way that track should be mixed into. But this one I know mostly from, I believe it was towards the end of Diesel Boy's 611 DJ mixes, which came out from 611. Obviously, there was a couple of them. I think Nigel Richards had his own one, and did Feel Good have one? I'm not really sure, but it's a great mix. And I don't listen to a lot of the guy's stuff now as far as mixes go, but Diesel Boy, the mixes he had back in the late 90s, early 2000s, especially the late 90s ones, like 611 mixes and 97 Octane, those have this really great, like almost like third act feel to the ends of them. Like the last 4 or 5 tunes will be such a shift in tone from the rest of the mix. I strongly suggest you go back and listen to them. If this track at all spoke to you, go back and find those tunes, those mixes. They're all on his SoundCloud for free. They're on YouTube. They're fucking everywhere. So soak them up, because they're really masterfully crafted. And because it's back in the era of 2 turntables, you get to hear the effort of crafting a good mix, and also how much work a track can do, versus now where, most mixes you're going to hear from people, myself included, are more than 2 decks. So you're getting this soup, and it's cool. Progress is good, and this is a good thing we've kind of found ourselves doing as DJs, but there is a different kind of elegance to how simple it was when it was just 2 records in a mixer. So go back and check that out. The mix Diesel Boy does from this track, from Mission, into a decoder song. I forget what it's called, but again, it's the way it should be done. It is so dope. You wouldn't really even know that it was 2 different tunes. The mood is just slightly elevated from one to the next. It is so good. Go find it, man. Go find it, listen to it. It's just super fucking cool. But back to Mampi Swift. I was talking to my buddy Tuco over the weekend. I was down at Randall's Island with a bunch of BP2 heads, New York City cats, and some dudes from like Philly, I think, Baltimore, West Virginia, wherever. Bunch of cats. We're out there playing kickball and playing drum and bass for people. And me and Tuco got talking about Mampi Swift. And I mentioned too how much I admire this guy's discography and how much range it covers. There's so much different stuff to kind of find within his discography. There's amped up crazy shit. There's stuff like this, which is more subdued but still has a style. And then there's just epic fucking shit. Like he's got a song called Victory that I just keep playing. Ugh, he's the coolest. And I was lucky enough to actually do a show with him. I can't remember if I opened for him or if we had him on prime time and I played right after him. But the guy is just, he destroys on decks. I mean, a lot of people you'll see doing like 4-deck mixes, and a lot of the icons of drum and bass will be out there doing those mixes. But a lot of them kind of go break to break and do and they spin the classics together, and like that's cool. Like there's a vibe to that. I think that's more of what they do over here in the U.S. versus what they're doing back home. But Mampi Swift, when he came over here, when I saw him play, just continuous bashing, like triple and quadruple drops out of tracks that you shouldn't be able to do it with, like the Messiah and shit. He's a consummate DJ. I have nothing but respect for the guy. And he's a giant too, man. Like the guy is built like an absolute brick shit house. Like he is a monster of a man, but absolute sweet man too. Yeah, nothing but good things to say about Mampi Swift, musically, DJ wise, or as a person. All around great person, great offering to humanity. So, but that noise I was talking about, this one. The reason that sticks with me, I think, is that it really is something that sounds like a moment I had. And this is a little personal story, so this is kind of a long-winded video. My apologies if you're not into hearing me talk so much, but I am a talkative motherfucker. So what it reminds me of is I was coming back from like one of my first parties, one of my first raves, and it's all fucked up. You know what I mean? I was coming off the end of a really good acid trip, and I was sitting in my friend's living room, and he's like, "I'm not going to stay up with you. Fuck off, you're a maniac." And I was like, yeah, fair enough. But he let me listen to the tape I had, which was Caffeine Gold by DJ Extreme. There's a whole series of caffeine tapes called the Caffeine Golds, and Extremes was good. It was very good. I mean, it's trance. I love me some trance, and everybody does. I don't care. And I forget which tune was happening in that mix, but every time I hit this little bowl that I was smoking out of, little stars would shoot out. Not like celestial stars, but like actual like Super Mario Brothers, like shiny stars, like star-shaped stars, kept shooting out of the bowl. And that noise that's in this tune, this one, that's kind of what it should sound like, what those stars shooting out of that bowl should sound like. So rent-free in this old head of mine, friendos. I don't know, man. That's pretty much all I got for this. I could wax on about how much I love this tune. I don't think it's going to be for everybody. That's your call. I hope you guys dig it. It may be a little more of a buried classic. When I first picked this up and talking about it online, Nick Minieri from Boston was like, good tune. And I was really happy to hear somebody else actually recognize this tune for what it is and how well it's crafted. So I hope you feel the same way about it. And that's going to do it for today, my friends. I hope you had a good time with this tune. I sure as hell did, in case you couldn't tell. I'll try to be less wordy on the front end for the next video. I don't write this shit down, so sometimes I just hit record and shit falls out of my mouth. I'm gabby as fuck, so there it is. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.